segment to see who would actually buy the product, what's the price in manufacturing, so that we know that we're not gonna waste money. And also the research and development, testing things to see if they actually can work the way conceptually that we originally thought that they would, right? How practical is it? Is it utilitarian? Is it luxury? What kind of product are we trying to create for customers? All right, this chapter focuses on opportunity identification and selection, strategic planning for new products, right? So chapter 1 and 2, we just got the introduction to the process. This chapter presents both the PIC and the new product portfolio, right? We say the product innovation chart is a strategic plan for new products. The portfolio ensures that products that meet financial strategic criteria are pursued. Which means, as a company, we don't just pursue any kind of product just because we're creative, we have wonderful ideas. We have to pursue things that ensure financial and strategic criteria, right? It has to kind of fit into what we already have existing with other brands, right? Because we don't want to confuse customers about who we are as a brand. If they've already identified us in a certain way, we don't want to deviate from that, right? That can kind of harm us in the long run. And it has to be kind of the financial needs, right? What we're trying to do, increase profit margins, can't be too expensive of a product to build, right? Without exercising some sort of reassurance that it's actually going to be profitable in some way. In which case, you have research on other products. What's the demand on those and why are they demanded for? So maybe you create something that kind of supports other products instead of something that's just completely creating a different pattern. To chart new product team direction, what kind of technologies do we need? Right? What markets? Technologies could mean, hey, it was something complicated, maybe some sort of electronic device. What are some of the trends there that we can use to gain demand? Microprocessors, we're talking about smartphones, microprocessors, cameras, right? Lenses, sensors, things of that nature. Right? Those are the technologies there. It has to be something maybe that sets us apart from others. Right? And then what markets are we entering? Right? What is this unique about those markets? What is attractive about those markets? Next, we want to set the team's goals and objectives. Right? Why does it exist? Right? Why does that particular market exist for the most part? Right? If it's household items, like most people just want to make their everyday life easier with things to do, chores, washing dishes with dishwashing, so, right? If it's designed for furniture, people want practical furniture that can, maybe now, you say people kind of want modular furniture that can be rearranged as opposed to older furniture that's kind of very static and can be rearranged in some way, right? But okay, why does this product category exist for the most part? And to tell the team how to play the game, right? So you're like, hey, you know what? Coming up with the new product and working within the team mindset is some sort of game, right? Because people are pitching ideas, concepts. You either accept or reject them, but you're kind of showing why they should be rejected, right? And you're showing also why maybe some concepts and ideas should be accepted. And you also have to work with others within the organization. Right? So it's not just a marketing effort in order to create a new product. It is an effort with the management team, effort with the financial and accounting team, effort with the distribution team, right? Operations, et cetera, et cetera. Company within a company. This describes a new product team as they do everything the firm does. Develop a budget, do financial analysis, assign tasks, and so on. So if you were part of a marketing team that was, kind of in charge of developing new products or working on innovation, in essence, you will be described as a little company within a company, right? You'll be branched off from others so that you work primarily on that initiative, And you would develop a budget. You would say, what is feasible, in terms of what type of money we can use to create something, right? Some sort of financial analysis. Assign tasks. Who is gonna do what? Who's gonna do research? Who's gonna contact manufacturers? Who's gonna maybe do concepts and prototypes, right? And who's gonna maybe do the financials, and so on. They need strategic direction on where they must and must not go, right? So you have to, maybe as a manager, as a leader, you have to organize them in a way so that they know not to waste their time looking in places that they should not. You set parameters and barriers. Hey, you can work within the constraints of this budget, don't exceed this, right? Maybe there's copyright on this area, so there's no need to kind of look in that area, and so on. And then product team managers ask, hey, what sandbox should I be playing in before beginning to think of specific products? Which means as a company, we might want to enter a new market or kind of push the product line of an existing market. And so we're kind of telling our team, right, as a leader of a company, we're telling our team like, hey, we need you to create a new dishwashing soap that has a different kind of dispenser. Say for example, like now with dishwashing soap, anyone ever buy the foam soap with containers, right? Right, and you're like, hey, what's the concept behind there, right? Why can't you just have the liquid soap that you originally had? You're like, well, we kind of found that perception-wise, people think that this is more effective and it eliminates a step to actually sub it. So we think that we should create foam soap. People think it's more perceived as more effective, or that it's kind of working in an easier manner to clean dishes or things like that. So there is a demand there. We already maybe own soaps, right? Liquid soaps. We're like, hey, we're focusing maybe on the container portion. Like, hey, create a new container that can work well with our dishwashing soap that suds out right out the bottom, so that people feel they don't have to use a sprayer to sud their dishwashing. So, I mean, kind of go something there. We already own kind of these product lines, we need to expand it, and maybe we're not gonna expand it chemically, it might be the same ingredients, but we may expand by using a different dispenser, a different container, right? And that in itself will be classified as a new product. Right? So think about this as we move forward and you kind of start thinking of concepts of products you want to create. You know, is it the container? Like, hey, we didn't really change ingredients, but we do find that the container, the thing that is in, there is a demand for something more innovative, an innovative container for that venture. Also think of like when we talk about Procter & Gamble, we talk about things like Tide. What's the kicker? Like what's the thing you think with Tide Pods as opposed to scooping up detergent? What's the draw to a customer? What's the demand? Yes.
Sticker beads of like, tossing in the water.
Okay, right. When we say, hey, what kind of customers we're looking for? Customers that have preference for convenience. What's convenience to them? Elimination of steps. To scoop out means maybe there's 3 steps. Allow the scoop, measure, it takes time, shake, pour some away, spread it around in the washer. And like, can we eliminate 3 of those steps? Can we eliminate 2 of those steps? And how do we do that? So the idea came about Tide Pods, already measured, right? Pre-measured, just in this unique, cute little contraption, and you take away steps. Did you change maybe the ingredients? Maybe probably not, right? It's the same sort of detergent, maybe it's more kind of a liquid form because it kind of be squishy, right? That might have been the issue. Hey, we don't want anything too hard because it kind of crack or something, and you make hard detergent in those little capsules. Maybe you put it into liquid form and you present it that way. Didn't change really the ingredients, but change the container or packaging.
Like, I guess Pringles, their whole thing is the cylinders, the bag of chips.
Alright. Like Pringles has a cylinder, that's the main draw. And the cylinder keeps each chip nice and neat, so they feel like you're not wasting chips. And like, hey, it takes up less space in the cabinet too, for storage solutions, right? See, like Pringles is a great example on maybe the container being the main draw. Might not be your favorite chip, right? That's just that, I still prefer Doritos, whatever. But Pringles, you like, well, kinda nice to have that neat container that doesn't take up as much space. Did you think of anything else? Another product that's just really the container is the draw.
Maybe like the mystery toys that they sell on Target. You buy them in the box and then you don't know what's in it, so you keep buying them until you get what you want.
So you're saying just having a mystery item inside, it's kind of a free gift or some sort of reward? Okay, alright. McDonald's does it for the Happy Meal. Cereal boxes usually do it with maybe a movie or something that's coming out or some sponsor, some sort of item inside. Right? Happy package, pre-packaged, yeah, that's a new product, right? But yeah, but there's several, right? There's several. It could be shampoos packaged in different ways and presented. Even too, before liquid Dove soap, obviously everybody back in the day just bought the bar of Dove, right? And then Dove has decided to start doing liquid soap, same ingredients, right? Just packaged in a different way, charge a little bit more extra money, right? Might have been cheaper just to have a little box of bar soap, and not everybody uses bar soap, have a preference for liquid soap, you know, put it on their loofah really easy to wash themselves. Just repackage and charge more money, right? And a whole new product right there with the same ingredients. New products in this firm will use our fine furniture designs, right? So I'm saying, what are the strengths? The strengths that provide direction. Remember we said we kind of build on what we already do good. We don't want to venture out and be kind of too exploratory for things that are unknown to us. Build on what we do good. So Herman Miller makes a ton of very classic furniture designs. I don't know if any of you have furniture designs, but there are things like Eames chair, Le Corbusier designs. Those are kind of very patented designs, right? I mean, everybody can't make them, so they sue, right? They've been patented long ago, but Herman Miller has, many contracts to do a lot of those classic designs. They make long-lasting, classic furniture, fine furniture is how they describe themselves. Gain value by being bottled in our bottling system, right? Coca-Cola, one of the major successes of Coca-Cola is that Coca-Cola is a bottling company. Bottling company. And other companies use Coca-Cola to bottle their sodas, their concoction. Interesting thing about Coca-Cola, what is the primary uniqueness about Coca-Cola? Yes.
Like they sometimes like have the names of the Coca-Cola, or they have like Bro, they will just have like the word.
Little names and taglines. But as a company selling Coca-Cola, what is the main success of that company? Yes.
Is it just buying other, like, brands that they have own water companies, they own different drinks, like other sodas?
True, they buy up a bunch of brands that they like and they use their process to expand Think about it. No one actually knows, and people have tried. Like, people have done experiments in laboratories to say like, hey, we've researched and we kind of discovered it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that chemical, a little bit of 10% of this, 5% of that, and no one's been able to really replicate. People have said they come close and then taste this like, okay, this tastes like Coca-Cola. But no one has been to empirically kind of steal the recipe. And which is so interesting because I don't believe Coca-Cola has a patent on the recipe. They leave it open. Because I think what happens with the patent is once the patent expires, I think it's open for anybody else to kind of use the patent. So Coca-Cola, I think, has decided to never really patent the recipe, but just keep it secret. Right? Just because of the patenting laws, they don't want to do it and then it expires and maybe somebody, you know. Because what happens if they patent? What do they have to do?
Declare what it is.
There you go, right? They're like, they patent it, they have to tell you and declare what it is. You have to go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, search it, Coca-Cola, blah, 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 and you see everything about it, right? Chemical ingredients, proportions, et cetera, et cetera. Alright, so say Herman Miller, hey, strength, use our fine furniture designs. Coca-Cola came by a big bottle in our bottling system, right? Bottling system and the transportation system. Right? Thousands of Coca-Cola trucks out there, a whole strong distribution out there. Right? That's a strength. Braun utilized innovation, innovative designs, right? Information shaping. Gerber, B for babies and home babies, right? Expert on baby, food and other items, been doing it a long time. Hey, Nike, B for all sports, not just shoes. This is strength, right? Not just your shoes, but they make quality equipment and attire for all sports. IBM, B for all people in computers, anything involved with computers. So even companies need to sell our information to other businesses because we're all about computers, processing, software, chips, things of that nature. Polaroid, be almost impossible to create. Right? A little bit older, I would say, with that. Definitely, Polaroid is not strong in music. Auction Long, right? We're talking about maybe even things like contact lenses, right? Using only internal research and development, keeping things kind of very private and permanent. Right? So the word doesn't get out there. But meet the needs of Ford engineers, right? Talking about equipment, manufacturing equipment, and Lexus offer genuine value, right? Lexus being the luxury brand of Toyota, as we all know, Toyota and Honda are about the primary quality vehicles that can last 250, 300,000 miles sometimes. But you also may want a little bit of great design with a little hint of luxury. So you may buy Lexus or Acura, right? These are times. All right, and product platform planning. Many firms find that it's not efficient to develop a single product, right? Not efficient to create a single product. So you may want to create multiple products, a product line, right? Just think about it. You can't just present one item and think that everyone's going to demand for it. What you may want to do is break it up into tiers and categories. Right? Demographics, socioeconomics, high premium, low basics, product somewhere in the middle, high quality, less quality, priced accordingly. Right? You may want to create a few products that are very similar. Platform product families can share similarities in design, development, and production costs. So here's some example. Car industry, $3 billion price tag on a new car platform is spread out over several models, right? So you could take, take any car manufacturer and look at models they're coming out with, usually they're not just rolling out with one. They may roll out with a coupe, a sedan, four-door sedan, two-door. They may also maybe have a hybrid, right, something that's more, not fully an SUV, somewhere in between, maybe a four-door vehicle and an SUV, and then maybe offer a full SUV and maybe also a minivan, right? Why? Because they say, hey, people who have a preference for maybe a brand, they also have different budgets, different lifestyles. Some of them have children, ton of children, so the coupe won't work. Maybe a sedan may not even work. They have to put a lot of things in, groceries, sports equipment for children. Maybe they want an SUV or a minivan. Maybe someone don't have those needs, but they still like a brand. Maybe go with a coupe or a sedan. Right? It's coming, spreading out several models, right? Sony, 4 platforms for Walkman have launched 160 products, variations, right? Olin, passenger planes, cargo planes, short and long haul planes made from the same platform. Use the same manufacturing platform, but for different needs, right? For example, liquid aerial for European market, right? So European market has different restrictions on the chemicals that you put in there, right? Liquid tie for North America, maybe a little bit more flexible on the chemicals that you put in there, right? A liquid shear for Japanese market, right? Just use different branding. Shear, you say the word shear may be more appropriate for Japanese markets. And maybe Ariel is more appropriate to say things like France, the UK, etc. Black & Decker uses a single electric motor for dozens of consumer power tools. Right? So Black & Decker kind of find out, hey, just change the design of power tools, but use the same motor. Right? That will be cost effective as a manufacturer. Alright. What we'll do is have our first blurb presented here. Diego, do you have any restrictions on that Google Doc to be allowed for anyone to view? Okay. I just sent you a request to be able to view. So you should have got an email for a request. Here's vehicle with a perinatal infection detection system.
Hello, everyone. So my work is focused on the perinatal infection detection system. Funny thing, actually, this slide was originally supposed to be about the Youth Product Development Center at Oklahoma State. But then I was looking through different products to do this mini article, and this was one actually. So I was like, you know what, let me just focus on this. I thought it was really interesting, actually. Have you guys all heard of nanotechnology before? Are you guys familiar with it? Okay, good. So basically, as you see here, it's a nanofiber-based medical device designed to detect infections at an early stage. Some unique features, advanced nanotechnology sensing, it has rapid early infection detection, and it's very portable and scalable medical design. You see there, very small, lightweight, and some benefits. There's faster diagnosis and treatment decisions, improved patient outcomes, and there's also lower long-term healthcare costs, so that's a big plus. This addresses the critical gap in early infection detection. It also demonstrates how academic innovation can lead to real-world medical impact. Yeah, so I thought this was really cool.
Now, how is one able to purchase or access, these detection systems? Would they have to go through medical providers, healthcare system, or can anyone do it if they feel that they have some sort of infection or issue or security?
I believe it might be through a medical provider. I had to double check the article, but I think it was still kind of in the works on it. But I believe it's not too public yet, but I believe it should be like through medical providers or other companies.
Now, how does the detection work? Will you buy a different detector depending on the type of perceived infection? Or can one unit detect multiple infections?
I believe it was with one year.
Can detect multiple infections. Have you seen, like, did you see a video of like, application of like how you would apply it, how you would, like, how it would work?
Oh, I don't know. I should get that.
Okay, I'll see if I can Google it.
Yeah.
After you're done. And did you see anything in terms of pricing?
It seemed to be a little more expensive, maybe like $500-600 range or above that.
So it's very pricey.
Yeah, it is pricey in the States.
So this is to substitute a, healthcare visit, right? So instead of going to the hospital, maybe you don't have insurance, you don't want to pay a copay, whatever, or inconvenience in some way, but you still want to be aware that you maybe have an infection, maybe you could buy something over the counter,
Yeah.
or something of that sort.
Yeah, especially just if you have an infection or any other disease or illness like that, you can track it early on, so you don't necessarily have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But this can really just help prevent the onset of that.
Yeah, and prevent like all the kind of process of doing testing at a facility. Did you look to see what kind of infections it covered? Is it like a whole broad spectrum, or was it like just a handful?
It seems to be pretty broad if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe it was quite a bit.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. So, and then one last question. Do you know if, you know, with this device, that you have to like send it into a laboratory to finalize the detection, or right there immediately at home, pull a strip, look at some sort of diagram, and it'll show you so for the rest of you, you kind of get the gist of what we're doing. One slide, bullet points, show us a product that you've come across that you think is somewhat innovative in some sense, something different. Give us some sort of, some sort of information on it. We'll be able to display the uniqueness of it, core benefits, why it matters, and exactly what the product is. Let me do a quick Google search. Let me just see if we can find the cost and maybe an application video or two. Tear down infection protection system.
You're listening to Innovation for Alpha, where we explore everything at the
Let's just see
intersection
what we
of
do.
healthcare and
This isn't such a bad idea, dude. UCO, University of Central Oklahoma, has an immense
That's too long. Let's see what we can find here.
For the 40th anniversary of HMP, it was big for it to be coverage in this year. Unfortunately, additionally, a more meaningful change in CTV
Alright, I didn't hear
care
it.
is that the
Too difficult to find. Alright. Good job. Alright, we got you again.
So I found USpan Nutrio. It's an at-home urine analysis tool designed to make clinical screening a little bit easier. It was created by the brand Winnings and captures key nutrition insights. So I don't know a lot on there, but when I was researching on some of their website, basically everything from like vitamin levels to hydration, what you can do. It works with an app on your phone. So that little contraption contains 22 different tests in one plan, 44 with the other subscription plan, and it's like a reoccurring thing. So they'll send you a box a week of, 7 to 14 plans or tests a week, and from there you just keep on taking what you need to keep screening yourself. Everything from vitamin levels, hydration, your diet, it goes pretty in depth, and then you can pick like a plan that say, I wanna lose 10 pounds. It'll tell you based off your urine sample and what is wrong or what you can change to get to that point.
Okay. So yeah, this is kind of a health management tool using kind of urine analysis. So you basically be healthier or meet your goals and objectives. In 379, how do you feel about that? Wait, let me ask you real quickly. 379, and that comes as a subscription of like a month?
Yeah.
Or how does that work?
So with 379, you get 2 to 4 measurements weekly, so 2 to 4 screenings, and that's 22 tests. 1 scan reader, one scan station to charge, clean, store, whatever you want to. Shipments are automatic, and then obviously access to the app. There's no at home is
Yeah.
the premium, but if you have the money, I think it's a good investment. I don't really like the idea of it being a subscription. I get the whole business model, like, so you gotta keep people coming back, but I don't like the idea of it being a subscription because now you're just kind of, I don't wanna say trapping, but it's kind of inconvenient healthcare instead of just being like, when I do that thing.
Yeah. Is it an app attached to it to like monitor?
So the screen, you don't really like do anything with the department P1 necessarily. It just sends the data straight to the app, and from there you just change your cartridge and move on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think, besides the price, I think it's a really good idea, but yeah, I agree with you, I think subscription is, I think people will catch on that it's kind of just too pricey and having to keep doing it multiple times, or just kind of make it more intermittent, twice a year, kind of evaluating your health type of situation.
Yeah.
And maybe structure costs a little bit different, cheaper.
I think they should have sold the tests, like the cartridge and the test individually, so you get a pack up front for that price. Instead of having to, like, I want to get to 20, but then you have to subscribe to that. You
Yeah.
have to continue, you know what I mean?
Excellent, good job. Alright, so maybe Monday, the rest of you can have some blurbs to contribute. Here, I'll put another announcement here, just as a reminder. Alright, some other identification, Greenfield Markets. Hey, find another location or venue. Once McDonald's has stayed up the best locations for traditional fast food restaurants, it continues U.S. expansion by placing stores inside Walmarts, right? Once again, we say, what are some other opportunities? How do we identify those opportunities, right? Example being, Starbucks were just brick and mortar stores. Usually they would come around, change the neighborhood, kind of gentrify the neighborhood. Starbucks was kind of for, at the beginning, yuppies, right? Younger professionals, or people in college sitting there all day, getting free Wi-Fi, doing work, on the go. It kind of changed as time went, expanded, implement maybe some drive-throughs, expanded more, started going inside of Targets, right? So Starbucks had kind of an exclusive arrangement with Target, like, hey, we think that we're different than Target's different than Walmart shoppers, and they have a different taste and preference, they have a different profile, type of people that go primarily to Walmart versus primarily to Target. So they decided to go with Target, and they kind of feel the Target matches the demographic profile of those who also like to get Starbucks, coffee, the same thing we're saying with this store, right? Identification, right? So in sports arenas and elsewhere, Starbucks coffee complemented coffee shop sales by selling its coffee beans and creams in supermarkets. Once again, right? Original concept is like, hey, we got Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. We have the stores. Where do we go next? Well, where we go next is we put the recipe, the grounded beans, right? We also put the creamer that we use, the specialty creamer that we use inside of stores, supermarkets, right? Just expansion, more opportunities there. So you leverage your firm's strength in the new activity center. Nike has recently moved into golf and hockey, right? And Honeywell's looking into casino opportunities, right? So Honeywell does a lot of manufacturing for large devices, think of heaters, air conditioners, things like that. Other opportunity, hey, we may want to create devices for the casinos, right? Slot machines, things like that, because we already have expertise in that type of manufacturing. It would be large sort of industrial electronic devices, and that's a new opportunity. Identify a fast-growing need and adapt your products to that need. HP, Hewlett-Packard followed the need for total information solutions that led it to develop computing and communications products for the World Cup and other sporting events. right? Also Microsoft. Microsoft uses the Surface Pro in a lot of branding for sports events. So if you ever watch the NFL, you look at the little laptop that they're using, for the most part, Microsoft Surface Pro. Kind of very easy to use. Make it a little more complicated to get Apple devices there. Make it lost, not able to pull information is put. So I would say sort of Microsoft is better for retrieval of information fast, looking at charts, data, those types of things. Whereas Apple is a little bit more of a hybrid of creativity mixed in with information process. Alright, so find a new to you industry. Procter & Gamble and pharmaceuticals, like we talked about last week. To compete with L'Oreal, Restaurant, right? GE in broadcasting, so General Electric originally started manufacturing large, maybe commercial or industrial scale manufacturing. GE makes engines for planes. GE makes home appliances, or commercial scale appliances. But then they want to get also into broadcasting, and they purchase NBC, National Broadcasting. Disney, cruises. Well, let me ask you these questions. How do these fit these companies? Why do you think these companies sought out these opportunities? So for example, GE, why would GE seek out broadcasting and purchasing NBC? Like, how is that affiliated in any way, shape, or form with General Electric? How is Disney affiliated with cruises? What would be the benefit? What would be the strength in Disney operating cruise lines? How does that fit the business model? Some sort of strength.
I guess like selling people on an experience, like if they spend $250 million on producing a movie, it's only gonna reach X amount of people and it'll stay relevant for that long. But people are always gonna take vacations, so if they can spend $250 million on if you're looking at a cruise line, make experiences for those people might be cheaper than going to Disneyland, or gonna get more out of it than going to Disneyland, and you still get to get the Disney experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, hey, Disney sells experiences of entertainment, whether it could be rides, whether it could be movies, or anything else involving characters. So maybe their strong thing is, hey, people on cruise lines want phenomenal experiences. They're on there maybe 3 days, 5 days for the most part. And so just have attractions on the, have Disney-owned attractions on the cruise lines. That makes sense. Rubbermaid and gardening products. I think that kind of makes a lot of sense, right? Either through alliance, acquisition, or internal development. So either you just acquire, like GE to NBC, or maybe you kind of ally yourself with another company instead of purchasing outright. Some other opportunities, some emerging societal trends, just-in-time life, sensing customers, transparent self, in search of enoughness, right? Virtual made real, co-creation. These are all just kind of different ways to opportunity identify. You say, hey, you know what? Let's create a product. We know we have to hurry up with it. It may not be a superb product, but in order to capture a market while the market is hot, quickly roll out something, right? And what we'll do is redevelop later on. But the first approach is to kind of do draw. And then what is the PIC? Once again, it is new product team strategy, right? Which you'll be working on with your group. So it is for products, not processes. Right? It is for innovation. It is the definition of new products. Right? It is a charter. This is a document specifying the conditions on which the firm will operate. So you're providing all the restrictions, capabilities, but have them from there. Typically, it's a document prepared by senior management designed to provide guidance to strategic business units on the role of innovation. The many firms have a PIC. Most do, according to research, even if they don't call it by that name. Here's a PDMA study. We say 75% of firms have a formal new product policy of some type. 29% have it formal, right, written complete. 80% of firms have formalized at least a few of the phases in the pilot processes, and 80% of the best firms have a PIC and only 69% of the rest. Right? It's extremely important on management to kind of have this innovation charter to kind of show the written documents format what's expected when we want to create a new product. What are parameters? How does it have to make sense with what we already do with other business units we have, or product lines that we have, right? It has to make sense financially, strategically, all of it. Some context. So we kind of use these as an example for your future PICs. Hey, background. Key ideas from the situation analysis, special forces such as managerial kickback. Reasons for preparing for the new product innovation charter at this time, right? Situation analysis is, hey, what is the kind of situation in our company? Financially, maybe we've had all these products that's run a long way. We haven't really increased the value of these products, so it's making time for something new, right? Focus, have at least one clear technology dimension and one clear market dimension, right? Market dimension has to be like some sort of demand in some particular space. Technology, like, hey, you know what? It has to be something that can be innovative. Chemical, packaging, like we just said, an experience, something new has to be there. They have to match and have good potential. Goals and objectives, what the project will accomplish, either short term as objectives or longer term as goals, evaluation measurements, right? So you can't come up with a product and say, hey, this is not meant to be long term, but we do have a need financially for something short term to fill in the gap because we're having losses on some of our other products. Thus, we may have a reason for a short term product now. And maybe something too like, hey, simple product, something that will last kind of forever. Not forever, but as long as possible. Right, examples like, hey, people will always need detergent to wash clothes. People will always need dish detergent to wash dishes. People will always need toilet paper. People always need paper towels. And those things, right, those are long term, right? We hit the nail on the head with those. You don't have to put in a lot of effort into altering them. It's not me. Here's an illustrative PIC for the iPad. Here was the focus for iPad. Technology strengths include Apple's operating system. Like first things first, we have this operating system, maybe it's iOS, right? I can't sort of the mobile platforms. How can we expand that mobile platform concept out to different devices? Like, well, we have the phone. That one's been doing pretty good. They also hit the iPod. That one kind of went away, right? Because you got very limited. Right? The screen was limited. Sometimes you couldn't really touch it. It had a little rotary system. Like, besides music and downloading some other stuff, what else do you do? So very limited device. They expanded and came up with the iPad, right? Just overlaying the operating system that they already had, the hardware in place, applications were already in place. They had the services with the phones, right? Product design and development skills. You know, which is kind of easy. They basically just made a giant phone. Right? So the iPad, for the most part, the mission thing is like just expand. Why? Because human beings have a knack to write on 8x11s, have a knack to read books which are larger than a phone. They want something to hold in their hands with both hands to kind of supplement this device that they're still in their pocket. Right? So if there's a need for that, people want to feel like they're reading the newspaper. Maybe we could format those. Maybe we could format the physical newspaper and magazines into an iPad version, so people could read that on the way to work or for school, or the textbooks for school. Right? That's a whole giant market we're missing out because we just stayed with this little device of a phone. Makes sense, right? So expand. something in between a laptop and a phone. Alright, marketing requirements include products on the cutting edge that offer seamless integration and high performance, yet are intuitive, simple, and fun to use. Some of the goals, revolutionary new products should also be platforms for future products. Right, so Apple is basically saying, if we are gonna come up with a new product, we want to squeeze all the juice out of the lemon for the product with, renditions, a new version, right? iPhone has, I don't know, it hasn't really changed, right? You think of the phone, what have they done revolutionary to it? Nothing, right? You just make an iPhone Max, just larger screen, iPhone Mini, smaller screen, iPhone Pro, add on a better operating system and camera, and that's it. I don't know if that's like completely innovative, but like that's not what the business into. They already had a charter, right? So their charter was already there. It's like, we're not into like reinventing the wheel every time, every couple of years. They're like, we want to squeeze maybe 20 versions out of any new product we come out with. We want to squeeze 20 years or 25 years out of that one product. So it's iPods, right? Because iPods, because it, 20 years. iPod Max, iPod Pro, right? All these sorts of things. Over the ear, in the ear, Pro version, something of the sort. But it's essentially the same sort of technology, just layered on top of different sort of devices. Do you feel like this is the case with most of the mobile manufacturers? Like, that they really just kind of layer over existing technology and squeeze out 20 years and just call it something new, although it's not completely innovative? Or do you find that one of the manufacturers that you purchased from are innovative? Like they come out with actual revolutionary products? Now let me ask you, I see an iPad Pro here. Is, in your mind, is that revolutionary? Or do you feel like it's just a glorified iPad?
Pretty much, it's like that.
But, okay, but do you feel that the writing mechanism, the fine detail, the contact features, the response, do you feel like this can equate to paper that you would otherwise write on? Like this is a good supplement to age-old paper and pen?
I mean, depending on how you, I guess how I feel, no, because I like the feeling, because like, they don't have, like, it doesn't have pencil paper. I mean, there's things that you can get, but they're not made by Apple. Like, there's like pen nibs and then like a screwdriver that you can make to the paper. But they, like, it's really incredibly smooth, and honestly, I don't like it, but I kind of just do it. So if they were like, to come out with like a paper wheel, I'd probably like.
Consider it a revolutionary.
Yeah.
Do you use, like, your utilitarian aspect of it, like, do you use that actually to keep notes and save notes? For like
Sometimes.
school?
Sometimes. Mostly.
Anyone else? Who else owns an iPad Pro? How do you feel about it? Is it revolutionary? Like you actually use it to substitute writing with pen and paper as notes, or anything else? Or are you like, accessory?
No, I think it's just accessory. Like I have it's like added keyboard part to this. It's not like part of the iPad. It's like you can use the keyboard part for it. So to me, it's just like a substitute for laptop.
Okay. So think about it, right? Remember, iPad, I mean, Apple's ingenious for this, but then in some ways it's not. Because remember, Apple can't really come out with a device that's truly a laptop and truly a tablet merged together. Because it would cannibalize MacBook Pro, Mac Pro, Mac Air, and iPads. Right? So if they ever came out with a device that's actually 2-in-1, no one would buy those other billions of dollars worth of two products. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I own the Surface Pro, the Microsoft Surface Pro, and Microsoft's approach was different. Microsoft was like, guess what? Apple can't do this. So our entry into the market is to give everybody what they want. Was it a full-fledged computer laptop with a full-fledged operating system, full-fledged being able to write and draw using the stylus, and also a laptop where you could magnetically just put on the keyboard, right? So Microsoft found that niche and said, Apple can't do this because they'll cannibalize, so they'll never ever come up with a Surface Pro. So for me, I used to be the biggest Apple person, like everything Apple, right? The ecosystem. I just wanted seamless and cool, the designs, but then once I saw the Surface Pro, I'm like, oh, this makes so much more sense, so much cheaper too. You can buy a Surface Pro for like $299 or something, right? Brand new. Right? And you can draw, you attach your keyboard magnetically, make it a full-fledged, all the stuff, right? So I was like, this to me makes more sense. And now this is Microsoft, so everything is integrated with Microsoft Office and anything you would consider productive for school and work and stuff like that. Anyone else here has a Surface Pro? Who all has MacBooks? What do you got?
I don't know, I have a Asus or Asus.
Asus. What do you have in the back? In the back, what kind of laptop do you have? Did you fall asleep right there? Okay. Alright, and then Apple, special balance. Apple aims to be the best, not necessarily the first in the product categories. So remember the age-old argument, Samsung came out with that, right? The Google Pixel already had that 2 years ago. Age-old argument that most people make, right? Apple doesn't really innovate, right? Probably true, but Apple says, guess what? We found that there's not a ton of demand even for innovation. People are more concerned with the simplicity and the cool design. Make it simple for them, the interface, the apps, and make the design beautiful. You have a good audience there for you to buy. Not necessarily put the best technology into the phone. It's not the driver. Right? But they want to be the best, and that for them is usually design and simple interface. Design and simplicity for them is probably their question. Not necessarily the first in the product area. So they'll wait. Right? Probably gets wait too, because Apple can kind of still research ideas. Right? Hey, wait for Samsung to come out with it first. We'll test it, we'll see the feedback, the response that real consumers have about it. Maybe we'll improve it for it to work good in our ecosystem, and we'll charge accordingly, charge a premium for it, right? That's a good business strategy. All right, and the result, Apple's first tablet computer, a revolutionary new product seen by many at the time as a nice big thing. No one tablet computer has established a dominant position yet, so Apple could be the standard bearer with the iPad. The plan for the future was to add capabilities and applications to future iPads. Right? So Apple's thing too is create a timeless design and just over time increasing capabilities with software and applications, right? Updates and apps. Right? That's where they feel that innovation will take place for them. But create a timeless design first. Alright, what time is it? 13. Okay. Alright, we'll end off here, we'll resume back on Monday. Like I said, we'll have a guest speaker on Monday, Mr. Williams. We'll talk about his product, and we'll talk about what we could do to help him, right? Kind of reach his goals with this new product. And we'll continue also to the lecture. So for the rest of you who didn't introduce a provider, come back on Monday with